number 6 was panning, which kind of shocked me because we've discussed panning. I've talked to several of our guests about how they pan and why. We've gone over LCR. We've talked to different guys about their philosophies on panning. But there were a couple of songs that I might have chosen in the top 5, but when I listened to them, my head just wanted to go like this. They just felt like they were out of balance. Everything was there was one song I judged on this recent Indaba Music contest, and it seemed like everything happened on the right side of the speaker. Panning is a tool and technique that keeps your interest. If you go to the world of painting and art, when you go up to a canvas, you don't see everything at once. Your eye wanders around the canvas, and a good artist can take and control that journey of where your eye goes on that canvas to find different things in the exact order and time that the artist wants you to find them. In the audio world, we want to do that same thing. We want to take control of where the ear goes and use it for our advantage. A lot of you guys put something on the stereo bus and it didn't really enhance anything. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I've got L2 on my stereo bus. This is without it. Now here's with it. About a dB and a half lower, but without it. But what it does is a lot of guys use the term glue, and for a long time I was kind of irritated with that term. But the more I think about it, the more they were right and I was wrong. It just kind of, you want compression to glue the mix together, not necessarily make it louder, make it sound better. Sometimes louder is better. Sometimes softer is not better. Sometimes more dynamics, less dynamics. So I wanted this song to be traditional, but still follow anything it had to follow on the radio. So I was thinking in terms of how to make it compete with other things on the radio, but still keep the dynamics that this band is known for. Now I noticed that some of you guys were just EQing just because you're supposed to. I don't have any EQ on my stereo bus. I'm putting some on just to show you kind of what happens if we change the EQ. Now, a lot of you guys were just adding low end. It does absolutely nothing. That doesn't help. Now, let me show you what happens if you take some of the mid range out. Said a million times, that's where our clarity, our emotion, our passion is. So make sure that if you're EQing for a reason. Don't just EQ because you saw your favorite engineer do it. Have a reason for everything you do, and make sure that reason is rooted in energy, feeling, emotion, and vibe. Another thing I noticed was effects for no reason, like reverbs for no reason, like I heard choruses that just kind of came out of nowhere. I've got this mix set up in such a way that I can show you without all my effects and with my effects, and hopefully you can see that there's, even though they're somewhat subtle, they're there to contribute a feeling. Watch this. This is dry. Now this is with them. How come I'm always missing you, baby? Talking about all the things you do to me. Often lose concentration. It's kind of subtle in a way, But what gets enhanced when I add the effects back in is the feeling, the emotion. We're taking his performance and kind of putting effects on it in such a way that it enhances the performance. I don't want you to hear the effects, I want you to hear the performance. Another biggie is compression for no reason. This last Indaba mix, just about everybody put compression on the snare, but I heard very few mixes that had a reason for using it. I'm gonna show you some. I've got what I did was I decided to treat all the drums at one time. I'm gonna take some of the dynamics off with just the drums playing. Okay, here's the drums without anything. Okay, now what I'm doing is you can do this with individual elements. You see the EQ, I'm adding a little bit at 1.3K, I'm adding a little bit at 3K, a tiny little baby boost at 80. And let me take some of these, let me take these two compressors off. Okay, here's one compressor back on. Other one. When I listen to it solo, there's just maybe 5% too much compression on the snare. But in the track, it does exactly what I want it to do. So don't overcompress. Don't overcompress your stereo bus, and don't overcompress your snare. And lastly, but not least, when I'm listening to 20 songs, you got to figure out a way to make things stand out. Don't assume that because the listener's a mix engineer, he's going to hear everything you do. Kind of over exaggerate some things, maybe 10%. Because you did it, you hear it. But a lot of times, even another engineer, I'm shocked. They'll come in the room and I'll solo something and say, man, check this out. That was great. Oh, I didn't hear that. He's like, whoa, you're an engineer. Because that's not a negative thing. I do it too. But what I'm telling you is, when you enter these mix contests, the guys judging it, they're hearing a lot of stuff. When you're hearing the mix contest called the record company get a job contest, they hear a lot of stuff. And a lot of times they don't have the best systems. They don't, they're tired. They listen to so many songs a day. You got to make your stuff stand out. So in review, energy, emotion, detect the elements that are important, get a plan, use your inventiveness for enhancing the song. Balance, balance, balance. You don't want a spaghetti sauce that just tastes all garlicky. It's got to be balanced. Panning, plan your panning. Get a vision, get a concept for what your panning's supposed to do. Compression, EQ. Stereo bus is sacred territory. It only needs to be used subtly. That's an area where you don't want to overdo it. Use effects for a reason, and make sure the effects match the concept you have for the song. Snares, don't overcompress the snares. Just make them snares. Make them do what you want them to do. Just give you that backbeat. And then remember, everybody in the world listens to a lot of music. Make your stuff stand out. Anything you want me to expand on, let me know. Hit us on our Facebook page, and we'll do an entire ITL on those specific elements. But this was kind of on my mind because so many of you, I'm telling you, that out of 25, I could have picked any one of them except I picked the one that had the least flaws. It wasn't perfect, but it was the most perfect. So if you can correct some of these things, I think you'll really do well in the real world, in the big mix contest, which is working for the labels and working and earning a living as an engineer. And then you can also win a couple of Indabas contests. Okay, guys.